Hey guys, how's it going? It's Trieyx here, and today we'll be talking about Persona 5 Royal. So I've been playing Persona 5 Royal for about 2 months now, and I've loved the game so much. Like, it's insane, like how good this game is. When I first got into the game, I didn't expect this game to be one of my favorites. And after I beat the game, I realized it's definitely one of my maybe favorite games of all time. I wouldn't say it's number one, but it's definitely up there. But yeah, Persona 5 Royal was actually my first Persona game. I actually didn't play the original version of Persona 5 because I was actually going to wait for Royal to come out to experience the game. The wait was definitely worth it because Persona 5 Royal added some new stuff in the game, definitely made the gameplay a lot better and faster as well, so I'm definitely glad I waited. Yeah, now I can say I'm definitely a huge fan of the Persona series. I really hope Persona 6 doesn't come out anytime soon because, well, the Persona games are so long that I was only able to finish this game because of the quarantine. So I don't know how I will be able to finish Persona without the quarantine. Like, my god, I think I spent like 150 hours in the game, maybe even longer. If there wasn't the quarantine, I probably wouldn't have beaten this game yet. I probably would have put in 100 hours in the game and just be done with the first part of Persona 5, like not even the royal part of it. Yeah, I don't even want to know. But yeah, before I get into this video, I do want to warn you guys that there will be some spoilers in this video. Definitely do not watch this video if you guys haven't beaten Persona 5 Royal or Persona 5 in general, because I will be going in on the spoilers. But if you guys want my non-spoiler review on this game, basically this game is like a 10 out of 10 for me. Like, it's definitely a great game. Definitely one of the best games or greatest game in the JRPG genre, in my opinion. It's a lot of fun, like, especially if you like turn-based games. Like, this game is definitely for you. I played this game in English dub, and I know a lot of people like to crucify other people for playing it in dub. Like, sub is the way to go, stuff like that. Like, honestly, I really don't care. Like, I first started off this game on dub. I was like, I'm gonna give a dub a chance and see how I like it. If I don't like it, I'll change the sub. That's how I always end with these games. Like, I always start with dub first because I give dub, you know, the first try because they are like the underdogs basically. So I just want to see how it goes. And once I heard the dub, like the first hour, I got into the game and I heard all the voice, or at least like the voices from the first hour of playing. I was like, I'm not changing it to sub. Like, the dub is actually really good. Like, all the voice actors did a really great job in this game. They definitely gave each character, they brought them to life basically. And they did really well with that. Like, man, it was great. Like, definitely the most notable ones to me. Actually, no, all of them are really good, but like the ones that from the beginning, like Ryuji, Morgana, An, Sojiro, like, they blew me away. All the voices felt like they fit, and like I said before, it definitely brought the characters to life. The voice actors definitely had a lot of fun with this, I can tell. And they were honestly really good. I remember when I first started playing these type of games, like JRPG, stuff like that, I always put on sub. It started changing when I started playing a game called Ys, or YS8 or something. I think that's how you pronounce it. Their dub was pretty good too, and that's how I started really giving dubs a chance, and I'm really glad I gave it a chance in, you know, Persona 5 because it was so good. Like, I can't not imagine myself playing this other than in dub. Like, it was just so good. Like, it was great. But in this video, I'll basically talk about what I like in like each arc. I don't want to go into too much detail because I actually did record a first part to this series where I kind of summarized everything, and that video is like an hour long, and I'm not even done with it. Like, so I decided to scrap that video. So I'm recording this video now. My voice is kind of a little shot because I recorded for like an hour long straight. So I might have to like record this video like different times because I just don't way I can record anymore right now because my voice is like dead. Also, I played this game for like about 2 months, so there'll be a lot of stuff I forget. Definitely in the beginning because, well, I'm not gonna remember everything when playing this game for 2 months. Plus, I played like this game for 150 hours, so there's no way I can remember everything. So if I make any mistakes, I feel let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, also this video is not scripted, so yeah, definitely there's gonna be things I'm gonna miss because I'm not thinking things through. Like, I'm kind of just thinking off the top of my head because I find it a lot more enjoyable to just basically talk about my experiences on the fly rather than writing it down, because I don't know, it just feels more genuine, I guess. When you write things down, you can tell it's scripted, and I don't know, it just feels weird. There's some videos I will script, but when it comes to like these type of review videos, I probably won't script them. But yeah, this is also like a new series I kind of want to do on my channel, geeking out about whatever heck I want to talk about. I did the same thing with My Hero Academia 2 Heroes. I did a video talking about the whole movie, whatnot. Basically just geeking out about the movie. So yeah, I kind of want to do more of this on my channel about games that I really enjoyed playing off camera, about maybe some movies or shows or whatever. Maybe just whatever I feel like talking about. So yeah, maybe I'll do more of these on my channel in the future, but for now it'll probably just be, you know, here and there type of videos. So but yeah, anyways, let's start off with the Kamoshida arc. So yeah, I really like how this game introduces the new mechanic, like the grappling hook in the beginning, as well as introducing Kasumi, which is the new character in Royal in the beginning as well. I thought that was pretty neat. It's a great way to introduce the new character as well as a new mechanic. But yeah, overall, I believe the beginning of Persona 5 was generally the same as the first game. But yeah, I really like how the game started off with it being in the middle instead of like, you know, at the beginning, because it's kind of like a Deadpool movie where usually in Deadpool, he's like, you're probably wondering how I got into the situation in the beginning, and then it rewinds back in time and goes through everything. So I really like that. I also really like how the game starts you off with something like a kind of like a mystery where you have to figure out who is the one who betrayed you. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, I kind of like how the game is basically you telling Sai everything that happened, and then the in-between cutscenes as well, where you go back into basically the present and you talk about the next target and the next target and next target. I thought that was pretty cool as well. The whole Kamoshida arc was definitely my favorite out of all the arcs, because this is a really good job of introducing all the characters, as well as explaining a situation that you're in right now. But yeah, all the characters in the beginning were definitely really cool. Like, I thought Sojiro was really cool, even though he seemed a little grumpy at first. Ryuji was definitely a bro from the start. Morgana, he's definitely adorable. Like, he's a great friend. I thought she was really cool. Character development she went through in this arc was awesome. Yeah, our confidants like Mishima, Kawakami. Like, Kawakami, when I first met her, I thought she was, you know, not a great teacher. Like, I thought she was horrible. But after you learn more about her and what she's going through and stuff like that, you realize how she's really cool. But yeah, anyway, the Kamoshida arc was definitely my favorite. Like I said before, out of all the arcs, it definitely tackled a lot of real life issues that people do go through, like abuse, sexual abuse, suicide, you know, all that kind of dark stuff. This one thing that I really like about this game is that they tackle a lot of real life issues. Like even like the corrupt adults, like stuff like that. I think that's why I fell in love with this game, because these are all stuff that happening like around the world, and I like how this game isn't afraid about talking about these problems and how these teenagers are trying to, you know, fix this world by changing the hearts of corrupt adults. Like, I thought that was such a cool concept. But yeah, Kamoshida's palace definitely was my favorite out of all the palaces. Everything started with Kamoshida's palace, so but in terms of design, it's not my favorite. But the whole Kamoshida arc was definitely really awesome. This arc definitely hooked me into this game. Like, when I first played the game, I was kind of, you know, on the fence. Like, I was like, I'm probably gonna like this game, but I'm probably not gonna like it that much. But I'd probably be one of those games I play every so often, whatnot. But like, once I started playing the Kamoshida arc, I was like, man, this game is awesome. Like, the story hooked me in. Like, this game is very story heavy, and I love games that are very story heavy. So yeah, the Kamoshida arc definitely hooked me in, and I was stuck. Like, I had to play this game every single day until I beat it. I had to avoid any spoilers on YouTube, on Reddit, on social media, everything. Like, I need to know like everything and figure out everything by myself. Even though I did get spoiled at some points in this game, like it sucked. But I'll talk more about that once I get there. But yeah, back to the Kamoshida arc. The boss fight is really cool. Like, Kamoshida definitely looks like, he looks really weird. His shadow. But yeah, I thought his design is so creepy that it looks so good. The whole concept of stealing someone's treasure to change their heart was really cool too. When I first played this game, I honestly didn't expect me to like the gameplay in this game. Normally I hate turn-based games, but once I got into my first fight in the palace, I realized how fast-paced this turn-based style gameplay is. Even though I believe it was a lot slower in the first game, definitely it did a lot of improvements to the point where I really liked it a lot. Like, I really like the fast-paced style This game had like, the baton pass, the guns being able to reload after every single battle. Like that wasn't like that before. They did so many improvements to make the game so much more fun, and overall I really enjoyed the turn-based aspect of this game afterwards. I also really liked the level designs as well. Each palace was relatively long, which gave you lots of stuff to do. The game was actually pretty linear. Like most of the maps are pretty linear. You can't really, well, you can't get lost, but for the most part, if you explore every single place and you're aware of your surroundings, for the most part, you shouldn't get lost because it's pretty linear. Which I like. At the same time, I don't like. Like I like games that are linear because if I'm just chilling and playing a game, I don't want to get lost. But at the same time, I do like non-linear games because they give you different ways to get to the end point and stuff like that. Different things to explore, whatnot. Even though there's lots of to explore in Persona 5 Royals, palaces, and whatnot. So yeah, overall, it wasn't bad. Like I liked it. The design for each palace was definitely very unique, and I thought it was very enjoyable. I also really loved how everything came together, like how we met Ryuji, how we met An, how we met Morgana, and then their interactions with each other in the beginning, and how they bonded over trying to beat Kamoshida. Like I thought that was really cool. Like what I really love about Persona 5 is that the character interactions is what makes this game. Like I really love interaction between each character, as well as the character developments in each arc. In the Kamoshida arc, you also learn a lot about Ryuji, An, and Morgana, because well they were basically introduced in this arc. But learning about their past was definitely, very interesting. Like Ryuji used to be on a track team, and how Kamoshida basically broke his knee, and it made it so he basically couldn't run anymore. It really sucked. I think he broke his knee after Ryuji punched Kamoshida in the face. I think I'm not too sure. I don't remember too much about that. But yeah, the fact that him and Kamoshida had so much beef, and Ryuji basically the one that caused the track team to disband, even though it was Kamoshida basically provoked him, I guess, sort of. Like learning about him and how his dreams basically got crushed, and how he finally got revenge for his team as well as himself, which it felt really great. An's past was kind of sad as well, like her not having any friends after moving to Japan, because I think she was born in Japan. I think she went overseas and then she came back, I think. So yeah, her not having any friends other than Shiho, who gave her a chance, her having self-confidence issues and stuff like that. Like seeing her develop in this arc, like it was great. Like I love seeing her have more confidence in herself and helping other people instead of running away from her issues. Like that was great. And with Morgana, he was actually pretty interesting. Like he was the human who turned into the cat, or at least that's what he thought. And how his past is kind of connected to mementos and his weird desire for treasure. Like that was very interesting to learn more about him and his past. It did take a while in order to learn about his past, but once you got to learn about it, it was interesting. Like it was great, like how he came to be, basically. But I'll talk more about that in the later part of this video. But yeah, overall, Ryuji, An, Morgana, even Mishima, Kawakami, every single character, I forgot Sojiro, but every single character that introduced in this arc was great, fantastic. Like the development was great. I love this arc so much. Another thing I want to mention is that after you beat Kamoshida, you guys go on a school trip, and there you meet Akechi, which I thought Akechi was an interesting character. He definitely seemed like, I don't know, he was okay at first when I first met him. I didn't think too much about him. He was like some famous kid who is like some really good detective, and then later on you start to pick up some signs of him being a little insane. Like you go through his confidant cutscenes, like you can tell he has been through some stuff, and that's why he is the character he is, which I thought was pretty interesting. And he's definitely one of my favorite characters after beating the game. This is what he went through, his character development. Like, he's not my favorite, but he's definitely up there. I really like how the main character and Akechi became rivals. I thought it was pretty interesting, especially since later on in the game you find out that Both you and Akechi have sort of similar powers, and you guys are sort of on like different teams, kind of. But yeah, we're not really talking about Akechi here, even though it does have to do with him. What I really want to talk about is the pancake cutscene. I love how this scene became so important later on in the story. You thought this cutscene would be something that you just forget about, and just one of those, fun little moments. But I really like how this cutscene, had so much. Like, I really like how they brought it back, basically. Like, and how it became so important, later on in the story, which I'll talk more about once we get there. But man, this cutscene, like, the writing in this story really blew me away. Like, how they basically recall older scenes to figure out the newer problems, and that was just so cool. Another scene I want to talk about is right before this, or like during this arc, basically, where after you, Ryuji, An, Morgana, you guys leave the metaverse for the first time with An being there, you see in the background, Maruki, he's just like staring at you, and then he just runs off. I never noticed this cutscene. I do have to replay the game in order to see it, but people say that it's there, and the story does, talk about it later on in like the royal part of the story. But I just thought like the little details like that is pretty interesting. Like it's really cool for them to do something like this. I really like when the games do that, where every little detail is like important to the story. It just makes the game just so much more fun. I don't know. I just love like attention to detail like that. Overall, the Kamoshida arc is definitely really good. I feel like it's really well written. Yeah, it's kind of about it for the Kamoshida arc. Next arc was the Madarame arc. There we got introduced to a new character, Yusuke. Yusuke was, at first I thought he was okay. Like I didn't think he was that cool of a character. But then throughout the series, you realize he's definitely a really cool character. He's hilarious as well. Like Yusuke definitely is one of my favorites, that's for sure. His design, like persona, outfits, everything was really cool as well. I really like his story as well, with him being taken in by Madarame because his mom was Madarame's pupil, and then she died unfortunately due to a seizure. But we only took him in because want to exploit him, take his art and whatnot, and to steal his mom's art basically. So yeah, I felt really bad for Yusuke, and it felt really good to finally get justice for him, especially what happened to his mom and how Madarame basically let that happen. Like he didn't stop the seizure at all, basically just left his mom to die. It was really sad. But yeah, some of the funny parts about this arc that I really like was when Yusuke was gonna ask An if he could paint her, and then him eventually asking her to pose nude, which I thought was hilarious. And then An coming in with like 50 shirts and then taking time to take them all off. That was hilarious. Oh my god, like character interaction in this game is awesome. Like it's basically what made me love this game so much. Other than that, Madarame's arc wasn't really that long. Another thing I thought was really weird is that they decided to meet up in Shibuya's train station, out of all places. I understand why, because Yusuke's not part of the school, but it's kind of weird that they're meeting at a train station talking about Phantom Thief stuff. Like, don't you think people will notice? But and also, don't you think people will notice if they go to the metaverse? Even though I think they do explain it that only people who are aware of the metaverse or something like that can see the metaverse. I don't know. I don't know. I think that's what explains it. So maybe they didn't see him just disappear. I don't know. But yeah, the Madarame arc wasn't really that crazy. Like compared to the Kamoshida arc, definitely a lot more tamer and a lot shorter. Yeah, I do like how this part of the arc introduced the whole cognition can change what happens in the metaverse. I thought that's pretty cool. Having An and Morgana have to change Madarame's cognition to open the door for us. I thought that's pretty cool. And also like how they introduced person who is gonna be like one of the antagonists in this game, like the person with the black mask, infiltrating people's palaces for their own benefit. I thought that was really cool to add a little more mystery into the game, like who this mysterious black mask person, as well as who's the traitor, stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty cool. I honestly thought the black mask person would be Kasumi, one of the new characters in Royal, but yeah, it turns out it wasn't. And honestly, I didn't think it was gonna be Kasumi either, because he doesn't seem like that type of person who would do that. After the Madarame arc was the Kaneshiro arc. There we were introduced with Makoto. Makoto, definitely one of my favorites of the Persona girls. I'll talk more about the whole best girl waifu thing at the end of this video. But yeah, Makoto, when I first met her, I thought she was like, eh. Like, her design was great. I thought she was like kind of bossy and stuff like that. But once you learn more about her, you learn about her past and whatnot, how she always feels like that she has to rely on someone. She felt like she was useless and just living the life that people gave her. Like, she's basically living a life for other people, basically, what she's saying. What I'm trying to say. It just felt so relatable. Like, you know, it just happens in life, you know, like when people put you on a path that you don't want to be on, like you should make your own path. Like, I really like, you know, Makoto's character development throughout this arc, like how she risked her life to basically get us more information on Kaneshiro to you know, help us out with the whole mission and whatnot. So yeah, that made me really respect Makoto a lot, even though what she did was completely crazy and foolish. I really liked her after that. Her persona design, it looks really cool. It's basically a motorcycle. How can you not like that? Her design looks really cool as well. They call her Queen, because she is a queen. She was great. Kaneshiro as the boss or the target in this part wasn't really that crazy. Like, it definitely was not to the magnitude of, like, you know, Kamoshida. Like, Kaneshiro didn't really have too much of a impact on their lives per se. It's just that once they met up with him is when he blackmailed him, but other than that, they didn't have any prior beef with him. Like, Madarame, like, Yusuke had connection with Madarame, so it felt a little more, you know, there. With Kaneshiro, they didn't really have too much of a connection, other than the fact that he's blackmailing them. So overall, Kaneshiro was like kind of forgettable for me. I still like the whole arc. I believe his palace was a UFO money machine ATM thingy, like a bank, basically. Basically like a UFO bank. That was pretty cool. I like that a lot. His shadow design was a fly, and it makes sense because Kaneshiro's annoying, like a fly. His piggy machine, I thought was hilarious too. Another part I like about the fight is that you can distract him by throwing something expensive, and I thought that was hilarious too. But yeah, overall, Kaneshiro arc wasn't that bad, but definitely wasn't as good as the other ones. The only thing I really liked was Makoto's character development. That was really good. But after that was Futaba. Futaba's arc was like sad. Like what she went through is what a lot of people goes through. The whole losing your parents type of thing, and having to basically be taken care of by someone else, like basically being adopted. Even though she technically wasn't adopted, but you know, well, whatever. But yeah, it felt really bad. Like, especially the fact that Futaba had this negative stigma of how her mom views her, and I thought that was super sad. Like, man, like after everything you've been through, to be haunted by the thought that you're the one who killed your mom, like, that's crazy. That's really tough to go through. Even though it was all fake, like it wasn't real, it must have hurt. Like, I understand why she became a shut-in, all that stuff. It felt really bad, and I'm so happy that it turned out to be untrue. Like, her mom did really care for her, and it was just, I guess, the Shido people, Shido's goons or whatever, kind of tricked people into thinking that Futaba's mom committed suicide because of Futaba, rather than, you know, her shadow being killed and her going to like mental shutdown. Because what she did was kind of weird. Like I don't know why she would jump in front of the car for like no reason. So like it was definitely a little weird. So you definitely could tell something happened. Like, it wasn't normal. Overall, I'm just really happy like that Futaba got an answer and got to change her life, you know, for the better. So I really like that. Like, Futaba definitely a real likable character. I can understand why people like her so much. She is, you know, a geek. She like video games, computer stuff. I understand why she's so likable. When I first played this game, or when I first got into Persona 5, the only characters I knew were Futaba, An, and Morgana. Oh, and Joker and Kasumi, but those were like the two most promoted characters in Persona 5, so those don't really count. Like, even then, like, I didn't even know Kasumi's name, I didn't even know Morgana's name, I didn't know An's name. The only person that I knew their name was Futaba. And the reason why is because I feel like a lot of people like Futaba a lot. She was the character I knew the most. I knew her design, I knew her name. Like, basically, she's the only character that I know both of those things. I only knew An because of her design, same with Morgana, same with Kasumi, same with Joker. Like, I didn't even know the names. So, yeah, I feel like Futaba was definitely a very likable character. Makoto was also another one that I feel people like a lot as well. Joker and Ryuji, those are given. Joker is the main character, and Ryuji is like a bro, so yeah. And Kasumi, she got a lot of promotional art and stuff like that, so yeah. I feel like people like her too. I'll talk more about her later on in her part of the story. Yeah, overall, the Futaba's arc definitely is great. The boss fight where her mom with the Sphinx was kind of funny. I don't know why. It's just like, it's kind of weird seeing her head on the Sphinx, but yeah, and the fact that Futaba was the treasure of her own palace was actually kind of funny. And also another part was kind of funny was I believe Sojiro said something about Futaba like basically having these times where she sleeps like a couple days at a time. Like, she said that she could wake up in like 2 or 3 days or something like that. And I beat the palace like in like the first day, so she basically sleeping for like 20 days. And that was pretty funny too. Yeah, another thing I really liked about this Futaba arc too was when she was first revealed. Like, it was hilarious when you saw her, behind the shadows and then scaring everybody. Also, Makoto was really adorable in that scene too. Like, she was scared. It's like, oh my goodness, it was hilarious. I liked that part a lot. Like I said before, the character interaction in this game was amazing. Like, it's like stuff like that makes it so much fun. In this arc, you also learn more about Sojiro and how he took Futaba in and stuff like that, his past, and the relationship between him and Futaba's mom, as well as Futaba herself. It was great. Like, you definitely learn a lot about Sojiro as well as Futaba in this arc, and I like that. Like, that was great. Like, Sojiro's past was kind of like a mystery. We didn't know too much about him, but I really like how they explored that in this part as well. Maybe like him a lot more, instead of thinking he's like grumpy old man. I really like that after he beat Futaba's palace, Futaba tries to break out of her shell and tries to live life again, and I really like that. I like how the main cast tries to help her, by meeting new people and just going out in general, and just teaching her the ways of living outside, I guess. I really like that. It just shows how much they care for Futaba. Like, even though Futaba is just some new character that just joined the team, I really like that they care so much about this new character. Not only that, but it brought us one of the greater cutscenes in this game, the whole beach thing. Like, every anime game needs to have some kind of beach scene, so it's inevitable, of course, but I really like that, like, just them hanging out and just having fun after, helping Futaba out, and just overall just relaxing because of what they've been doing. Like, it's gotta be stressful to be, a Phantom Thief while also going to school and whatnot, so just seeing them relax is awesome. But yeah, I just love, like I said before, the whole interaction between characters. Like, when I played this game, the thing I liked the most about this game was not even the story. Like, the story is great and all, like, and the boss fights are great and stuff like that, but what I really liked was the in-between scenes, like them trying to figure out a new target, and after they beat the boss, like the whole waiting for the changing of heart thing. Like, that's like my favorite part. Like, not even like the gameplay. But yeah, after that was, I believe, the next semester of school, and there, immediately after the next semester, they go on a trip to Hawaii, which I thought that was so much fun. Like, that's so cool. Like, I really wish in school I could go to Hawaii and stuff like that. Like, the only school trips I have, like, just stuff like museums or whatnot, and like, those are great and all, but come on, Hawaii, like, can you imagine that in like high school, going to Hawaii with your friends? I think that'd be so awesome. But yeah, when they went to Hawaii, they actually went to the place I've been to, Waikiki. I actually stayed there for like a week or something like that, and it's so cool just seeing them go to the same place I went to. And I'm like, when they went to Waikiki Beach, I was like, oh my god, like I've been here. like this the place looks like very similar to the actual real life Waikiki. Even though I'm not sure if the Big Bang Burger place was an actual place or not, and they just changed the store. I'd never been to that part of Waikiki, but it might just be some random location that they just made up with the Big Bang Burger in it. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Like, even though I kind of got spoiled of them going to Hawaii, like I was looking at some of the date cutscenes, and the Hawaii part was one of those like dates, so I sort of got spoiled in that, but it doesn't really matter because even though you know what's gonna happen, like you don't really know what the cutscene is about, you don't know the interactions, stuff like that. So even though like I did know they're going to Hawaii, the whole interaction between them and what they're doing is unknown to me, and that just made it like really enjoyable, even though I did know they're going to Hawaii and stuff like that. And after going to Hawaii, they went to some place that had Big Bang Burger, and there kind of figure out our next target, Okumura Foods. We also meet our new ally for the Phantom Thieves, Haru, which Haru is precious. Like, she's so innocent. Like, I really feel so bad for everything that happened to her. Haru's one of those people you must protect. Like, she's adorable. Like, oh my god. But yeah, we meet her. She's sitting at the beach and whatnot. But that's kind of about it for Haru in this trip. Mostly with you and the gang just hanging out. I love how Yusuke and Hifumi were in Hawaii. The trip got cancelled and they decided to go to Hawaii as well, which it's kind of convenient. But yeah, just like the whole interaction of Hawaii was great. Like the date scene was great as well with An, Makoto, Kawakami, Hifumi. Ryuji had a scene. I think Yusuke probably has one too, but I didn't unlock that, so I can't really tell. The whole meme with Yusuke and the lobsters was pretty funny. But I don't think that was in Hawaii. Actually, I think that was in the beach scene, like with the top and stuff like that, which I forgot to mention. But that was pretty funny too. Like people like the meme on that, with the voice actor Matt Mercer being the same voice actor I believe as Ryoma. Yeah, everybody likes the meme, that scene with Yusuke and the crabs. I mean, with the lobsters. Another thing I really like is how you have to stay in the same room as Mishima. Like, I hate how this game treats Mishima like some kind of nobody. Like, or at least I hate how the main cast kind of treats him like that. Like Mishima, I think it's a pretty cool character. I just hate like how options are like treating him like trash. But it's also understandable. Mishima's like one of those characters you make fun of, kind of like Yamcha in Dragon Ball. He's just one of those characters you just have to make fun of. But yeah, this is kind of funny how you stay in the same room as him. Like, you haven't even have an option to be like, I don't want to stay in the same room as him. Like, I want to be alone. I thought it was pretty funny. Like, if I was in that situation, I would want to. Like, I probably would want to be alone. Like, I want to share a hotel room with someone. But yeah, and I love how Mishima's so obsessed with the Phantom Thieves. Like, every time you guys talk in the room, you just keep talking about a Phantom Thief and stuff like that. And also, there's one cutscene where he had a stomach ache. That was hilarious too. Also, another thing that was weird was in that cutscene, An was staying in your room, and I'm pretty sure if the teachers found out that girls staying in the guy's room, you guys would probably get in a lot of trouble. Like, I couldn't even imagine, especially in high school. Yeah, Mishima was definitely, it's one of my favorite confidants. Also, right after you leave Hawaii, you meet the new girl Kasumi in the gift shop, and there she's trying to find a gift for someone. I don't remember who, anyway, or dad. I don't remember. But there you guys talk, and then that's when the crew meets Kasumi for the first time. And that's kind of about it for Hawaii. I don't think anything else happens. You go home, you talk to Sojo and Futaba, whatnot, and then the next arc starts with Okumura and Okumura Foods in general. And this is where things kind of get a little crazy. That's when the story starts to pick up. So yeah, I believe it all started with the Fantasies website. How they kind of got lured into going after Okumura. He was like the most wanted person to have a change of heart for the public at the time. So they decided to go after Okumura. Oof. Like the whole arc, I just felt so bad for Haru. Like Morgana and Ryuji having a fight, which they usually do, but this time kind of go out of hand, and Morgana leaves. Like I understand everything that Morgana went through, like him feeling kind of useless, kind of like how Makoto felt at first, where he feels like he doesn't really bring anything to the team. He's not a human. He can't really do anything outside of the metaverse, and he doesn't really have any memories. Like so he doesn't really know too much about how the metaverse works. Even though he knows a lot, but at the same time, there's still stuff he doesn't know. Like understand everything he went through, and understand why he left. But that brought one of the funny cutscenes later on in the story, with him and Haru going to the metaverse to change Akumura's heart by themselves. And then they have that really funny cutscene where they're standing on top of the shelf, and Haru acts all cool, trying to be like one of those heroines you saw on TV. I'm assuming she probably meant Sailor Moon. And then Morgana's like trying to back her up and stuff like that. That was pretty funny. Like they have such a great chemistry together, even though they don't know each other for like maybe a couple days. But yeah, and then finding out that Haru is related to Akumura was actually kind of interesting. Like I did not expect that. We find out once she is able to open the security to continue going on to the palace. But yeah, and after that, I believe you guys try to get Morgana back by chasing him into the metaverse, or Memento to be more exact. But yeah, you meet Haru's mean fiance, and you just feel so bad for her. Like everything she's been through, like she's forced into a relationship that she doesn't want, all because her dad wants to have more of a like political power, I guess. And she had to do everything he says and whatnot. I just feel so bad for her. But at least you're able to protect her during that time, even though Morgana got beat up. I'm not sure what happened to him. I think he got kicked into a wall or something. I don't know. But I feel so bad for Morgana as well. But at least you guys make up, and Haru joins the team, and that's really cool. After that, you go through Akumura's palace, which is like a space station, and that was really cool as well. I really like space and stuff like that, like astronomy. So I thought this palace was really cool as well. It's probably like maybe I wouldn't say second. I don't know. All I know is Futaba is my favorite. I don't really know which is my second. But Akumura's up there because, like I said before, I'm really interested in astronomy. But yeah, Akumura's boss fight was, oof. Like I know that everybody hates this boss fight. When I first got to this part, I was like mad. Like I was so unprepared for this. Like how I built my persona, basically I was giving Arson every single elemental like magic attack. So he had curse, he had fire, ice, thunder, whatever. Like he has all those elemental attacks for like all enemies. Like you basically have the AoE attack. And then I built another persona with like Angel. She has all elemental attacks, but like for single target only. And at the time, all those like magic attacks were, I believe, light damage. So basically, with the weakest of the weak moves you can have for those magic skills. So yeah, like I've been doing like poop damage to him. Like it took me forever to beat him. What made me rage the most was mostly you only have 2 turns to do damage to these robots. After 2 turns, they leave. Like you gotta beat them all at the same time, or not at the same time, but you gotta beat them all before the second turn. If you don't beat them in the second turn, then you're screwed. Like they run away, and you have to do it again. Like that was the most painful part. Not only that, but the counter or the countdown is going down. That kind of brings stress as well. And then I was just playing this late at night, and I don't want to stay up too late, so it was really bad. It was not a fun time. Like I like the boss fight. Like don't get me wrong. Like I think it's very interesting. I think if I was prepared, it wouldn't be a problem. The only thing I was underprepared, and that's why I hated the boss fight. But when I look back at it, I honestly really liked it. It wasn't that bad. Like if you prepare for it, you'll be fine. Like you already know all like the weaknesses and all that stuff. The only thing was I was like very weak. Everybody else was very weak as well. Like even I used the baton pass, it still was relatively difficult because Joker, like my persona, wasn't that strong. So yeah, that's when I realized that okay, I gotta start preparing for the future part of this game, and stop slacking off, because I wasn't really trying to power up my persona at the time. I was just like enjoying the ride basically. And then along the way, I upgraded my personas. Like I was actually thinking about upgrading my personas near the end of the game, like around like the last boss. And after this boss fight, I was like, you know what, I gotta start doing it now because you're not gonna have time at the end. The only painful part was of the boss fight was the robots. Okumura himself was really weak. I honestly expected him to be a lot stronger. I thought he was like a second phase, something like that, but I guess it kind of makes sense for his character not to be strong. Like, he kind of relies on the other people and his workforce to do the dirty work for him, and then he's basically there just to control them, and it kind of makes sense why he was so weak. And yeah, that's kind of about the end of the boss fight, and then here's when things start to get very interesting and the story starts to escalate and get to the good part. So after you leave the palace, you see some person with a black mask, and there that person kills Okumura, which is the same person that Manorame mentioned. I just felt so bad, like for Okumura, like especially for Haru as well. Like her dad is now gonna die. I just didn't know when it's gonna happen. I didn't know it was immediate or it was like gonna happen after the change of heart. But yeah, I believe it's like in the first day or something. So it took like 2 weeks for him to die, which that's pretty interesting. Like I don't know, I don't really know how it works. Like after you kill a person's shadow, do they die immediately or is it delayed? Because I don't know. Because when we beat Kumura like before the first day, so I had to wait like 2 weeks. Like I feel like story wise, it probably immediately, but I don't know. Maybe it is delayed. I don't know. But yeah, afterwards, you guys celebrate. You guys go to Destinyland, and I'm like, yo, this game had a Disneyland, but it's called Destinyland. That's so cool. Like, I don't know. It's just really fun. Everybody partying and whatnot. An's wearing the, stuff you wear in Disney World, like the mouse ears. I think Futama's wearing like some sort of ear, like I'm not sure if it was a rabbit or something. It kind of reminds me of Eeyore's ears, like from Winnie the Pooh. I don't know, whatever it was. But yeah, everybody's having fun and whatnot at Disneyland. And then afterwards, they watch the conference to see the change of heart and him confessing his sins. There we're all waiting for him to say his connection between the mental shutdowns, whether he's the person who caused it or whether or not, there's someone else higher up, and him revealing the secrets. And then afterward, you see him just die on camera, and it's just super sad. Like, first of all, it's actually kind of shocking. Like, seeing him, his eyeball, like, all white, and it's not really blood. Like, it was like, I don't know, it's like black. It could be black blood, I don't know. Like, it was weird. Like, I don't know what it was that's coming out of him. But at first I was thinking, like, is it ink? I don't think so. I think it's blood, but they decided to just make it black so it doesn't show, I guess? I don't know. But yeah, mostly I feel bad for Haru because she had to see all of that. Like, you don't want to see that happen to a family member, let alone, your own parents, stuff like that. The whole thing, it must have been so shocking for her. Like, I'm surprised she didn't faint, just to be honest with you. Not only that, but it happened in Destinyland, like, the happiest place on earth. Like, come on, our only memory of Destinyland was that. Like, that really sucked. But yeah, afterwards, everybody disbands and whatnot, and then we talk about what did we do wrong. Like, we did everything right. Even though you, the player, you know everything happens, but they don't know. I also want to talk about in this part how I kind of got spoiled on who the killer is. Like, after the frustrating fight with Okumura's boss, I decided to go on Reddit because I'm an idiot, and I'm like, did anyone else have trouble with Okumura's palace and whatnot? Like, going through Reddit and it's just looking at the forums and whatnot, and then some guy was like, oh yeah, I hated Okumura's boss fight. I'm really glad Akechi killed him. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, oh my god. That was a huge mistake on my part. I don't even blame the guy. Like, I blame myself, because before I even searched it up, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get spoiled, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because I want to see if anyone else had the same problems I did. And sure enough, a lot of people did have a lot of problems with Okumura's boss fight, which is understandable, especially if you're playing this game for the first time. You're not gonna know how the boss fight works, so it makes sense why it was difficult at the first time. We've seen the people with like all sorts of elemental attacks, so yeah, I understand why. But yeah, after the death of Okumura, we, are trying to figure out what went wrong and stuff like that. We kind of just laid low. The whole world was turning on the Phantom Thieves, thinking that they were the one to kill the Kumra, which makes sense because, we sent out the calling card saying that we're going to change his heart, and then he just died right in front of everybody's eyes, which was the whole plan of the enemy. So we fell right into their hands. After that, fast forward to the school festival. There, everybody wants to, bring Akechi to the school because he was the one saying how, Phantom Thieves are bad, or not bad, but like they are sort of good, but they are a menace to society, I guess. So everybody is like praising him, saying Phantom Thieves are bad, and you see your approval rating just drop to like, I think the thing was like maybe 20%, the lowest maybe 10, I don't know. So that was pretty cool to see the society just turn on you, which I think is really true to real life, because there is people out there who will switch up on you when things get rough and they don't benefit from supporting you anymore, so they sort of just leave. Not really like cancel culture, but at the same time it sort of is. Like once they see you do something bad, they're like, oh, I don't support you, or like I never supported you, or something like that, and then the haters start rising up, stuff like that. So it's kind of like real life. I really like how this game sort of tackles that sort of issue, even though I don't know if they intended to tackle this issue. It's very interesting. Like it just shows like how society really is. They just here for the good stuff, and then they leave when things get bad. And the people out there who just care about like the bad news and care about seeing people get wrecked. So it's very interesting, like how society works. I like how this game really talks about that aspect, because I think it's true. That being said, there's still some people who supported the Phantom Thieves, which, because not everybody will switch up on you. There's still some people who are loyal and stuff like that. So honestly, this whole society turning on you was probably for the best for the Phantom Thieves, because it really allowed them to see that popularity isn't really the thing to go for. Like I really like how they learned that through this, and how you should just follow your own ideals and your own justice and do what you think is right, not what other people want, not for fame, not for money. I feel like it's a really good life lesson. Like live life the way you want to live. Don't do it for other people. Do what you want to do that makes you happy. Who cares what other people say? As long as you think you're right, then you can do anything, unless you're doing something illegal, which in that case I don't endorse that. Same thing with doing things that are harming yourself and others around you. Like I don't endorse that either. Like live your life the way you want to live it and follow your dreams. That's kind of about the whole thing with the Phantom Thieves, and just following your ideals. Like that's the biggest thing. Like not even just like following your dreams, just follow your ideals and your own justice. And I really like how they learned that from this, because it's definitely a good lesson to know. I don't know. I just really like this part. Like it's very interesting. But yeah, anyways, after that, they realized what they were doing wrong. So after that, it was like a school festival and whatnot. And like I said before, everybody wanted Akechi, because he's so popular at the time. The group was like, let's bring Akechi here. But they brought Akechi there. This is where things get really, really interesting. This is when the plot picks up even more. So there, Akechi's doing the press conference, and he talks about Phantom Thieves and what he's going through in the investigation. Makoto was like really merciless in hammering him with questions, like really tough questions that he probably can't answer. Like if you're a detective, you probably can't say these type of things, but he's like really trying to get him to answer her questions. And I really like that. I think that was really cool. And there he was gonna say who the real Phantom Thieves are, and then he basically did this whole ploy where he plans that someone calls him, and then after that he try to get a meeting with everybody in the group. Actually before that, I really like how Akechi, when the first day of the school festival, he comes over and he's like, he takes one of our takoyaki, I believe that's what it's called, like the octopus balls, whatever those things are. Actually, is it even octopus? Or is it fish? I don't know. I don't remember. By the way, it doesn't really matter. He takes it and he eats it, and he takes a spicy one and he can handle it, which I thought was pretty funny. Also, there is some new cutscenes as well. Like there's a date scene or date thingy in a school festival. You can hang out with any girl. But before that, there's a scene with the new girl with Kasumi. I thought it was really cool. There's new animation and all that stuff. So that was really cool. I like that. But anyways, we're not here to talk about that right now. After that, you get to a meeting with Akechi for like 10 minutes. There, Akechi talks about how he knows our secret. He has pictures. He probably already knows even before the pictures. He has his suspicions. I believe he kind of has suspicions even when we met up in the subway a while back. I don't know when this happens, but that's another time he had suspicions. There you actually can say Ryuji is a fan of D, which is hilarious. But yeah, after that, he talks about how he wants to make a deal with us. He wants to change Sai's heart, Makoto's sister, and Makoto knows about the whole palace thing because she looked up Sai's palace ahead of time, and her main reason of joining Vanities was to eventually change her heart. So she knows about the whole palace thing, and there everybody sort of has to agree with him because, you know, he's basically blackmailing them, so they can't really do anything about it. So after that meeting, that's when the whole pancake scene comes into play. Everybody leaves the room. Morgana and the main character were talking about how there's no way that this is the first time Akechi heard Morgana's voice because of the whole pancake scene. Akechi comes and says, I thought I heard something about pancakes, even though Morgana was the only one who talked about pancakes. And the only way you can hear Morgana's voice if you have been in the metaverse at least once before. It's kind of interesting because Sai does go into her own palace and then she can't hear Morgana's voice, but I think you have to be there for a certain amount of time. Or maybe you might have to hear Morgana's voice in order to change a cognition. Akechi never really heard Morgana's voice in the metaverse until they actually went there, so I don't know. That was very interesting for them to bring back that scene. There's also another part where beforehand, Futaba, during the first day of the school festival, she was thinking about how Akechi said everyone's here, and even though at the time they don't think they knew Morgana was a fan of Thief, so that was pretty interesting. Like another thing that foreshadowed was gonna happen. But yeah, that's when Morgana and the main character kind of gets their own suspicion that it's gotta be something up with Akechi for him to strike this deal with us. So we end up telling everybody about it, and then they come up with a plan to essentially expose Akechi, but not really. Akechi never really gets exposed, but they kind of expose him in their own like inner circle, I guess. And the plan was really well thought out. Like I really liked the whole writing with the plan and stuff like that, which I'll talk more about it once we get to that part. But yeah, after we strike a deal with Akechi, we end up visiting Sai's palace. Sai's palace is a casino. The music there slaps. It was great. Like every song, OST, music, whatever in this game slaps. Like everything's great. Meet Sai's shadow and awaken some things in me that I didn't know that could be awakened. But yes, the shadow looks great. Definitely, it's just a little weird at first to seeing all that eyeliner. But overall, it wasn't that bad. I like the design a lot. I really like, you know, the casino aspect. Like even though everything was rigged in our favor, you can really. Well, actually, I think you probably could play some games without following the whole rig thing. Like I'm pretty sure you probably could play the dice game without rigging it at first, and you'll probably end up losing. I don't know. I haven't really tried, but I don't know. It's always kind of fun. It's definitely like a new thing for the palaces. Yeah. Anyways, we kind of get to like the mid floor of the palace, and after that, we have to go change the cognition again, kind of like how we did with Madarame. I kind of wish there was more of that aspect into the palaces, more of the changing of cognition, but at the same time, I'm the type of person where I want to do the palace immediately in one day, so having to wait until the next day to finish the palace kind of would irk me a little bit. I don't know. Like, it's like beating the whole palace and then seeing the whole list of all the stuff we did and a whole bunch of news. I don't know. That was kind of cool. Yeah, we had to go to the courtroom and then change the cognition, and then after that we can proceed with the palace. And then once we got to her boss fight was a little bit difficult at the time. It wasn't that bad because when she does her roulette thingy and she changes the element of her attack, I had basically Makoto and An at bond 10, so they had that whole evades psychic move, so it wasn't that bad. Like basically on Makoto was able to dodge most of the attacks, so Sai wasn't able to do any extra attacks. So yeah, it was only when she does Almighty when things get a little rough. At the time, like I said before, I was using Angel. Angel's weak to gun skills or gun damage, so I can knock down a lot. So I had to change my persona to Arson for this boss fight. It took me a while to figure that out. But once I figured it out, I was able to beat it like my first try. But overall, her palace wasn't that hard. After that, it's when it's basically near the present of where we are. So after we beat Sai's Shadow, that's when the plan started taking place. So Ryuji and Yusuke, they pretended to get Sai's treasure. I kind of wish that we could have known what her treasure is. Like, even if we didn't steal it, I kind of wish we knew what it was. I think they talked about what she thought it was later on in the game. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, after that, the main character takes the briefcase, whatever, and then tries to catch the attention of the police so everybody else can escape. In doing so, the game introduces the grappling hook mechanic as well as Kasumi, which at the time, or at least at this point, you know everything. That you know grappling hook and Kasumi. After that, you jump out the window, and then you get caught by police, and then you get sent to the interrogation room. Like, same cutscenes happen, you get beat up, and then Sai comes in and interrogates you, and then you're back in the present. After that, you try to convince Sai to take your phone and show it to Kechi. That way, you can send him to the metaverse or in Sai's palace. That way, he kills Sai's cognition of you instead of your actual character. And then here you see Akechi go insane. I honestly did not expect Akechi to be like a psychopath, basically. Like, I know he was the one who killed Akumura, because I already got spoiled by that. But if I didn't know that, then I wouldn't expect this to happen, or Akechi would have killed you. I thought he would just betray you. The whole time, like, even if I didn't know that Akechi was the killer, I would have known that Akechi would betray you, because this seems so suspicious. You need to know the memories of the pancake or whatnot. Like, you kind of still get your suspicion, because, I don't think anyone else would betray you. Like everybody on the team were loyal, so I'm pretty sure the only one who would betray you was the new guy. So after Akechi kills you, or kills the cognition of you, he talks to Shido on the phone, and that's one of the things that he kind of did wrong, is that he kind of reveals his name. Afterwards, Sai comes back, after Yaldabaoth programmed those texts for her, and saves you basically, and brings you back to LeBlanc. And then afterward, you meet up with everybody, and they talk about the plan, and this whole plan was genius. Like, they put so much work into it, and so much thought into this. Like, the writing team did really well with this plan. Like, I thought it was very intricate, like how they figure out, Akechi was the traitor, or was gonna be the traitor, and not only that, but plan this entire thing. Like, there's so much to go through this plan, like the whole planting the app on Akechi's phone, to figuring out that the metaverse or Sai's palace was like, it was the same for the interrogation room as the real life, and them trying to find the cognition of the main character and put him in there. Also, be able to send Sai and Akechi to Sai's palace without them noticing, using the main character's phone. Like, the main character trying to convince Sai of everything, and the pre-programmed text for Sai to basically convince her to rescue our main character, and then also having to have her basically wait in the hallway, that way they can bring her back to the real world, and them having to tie up Akechi, and then having to find Sai's cognition of Akechi and tie him down before he goes into the interrogation room, because that wouldn't ruin everything at the last minute. Overall, this whole plan was very intricate, and I thought it was really cool. As before, the writing team did an amazing job with this, and yeah. And that's kind of about it for Sai's palace. What I really liked was the whole suspense for the main cast. Like, even though they knew the whole plan, they're still worried until they actually see you. Like, I like the animated cutscenes where everybody's pretending to be shocked, and Ryuji at the end, like, saying, "We got him." Like, that was really cool. At first, I was, like, confused. I was like, why is everybody so shocked? Because I'm pretty sure that they know the plan. But just saying how they're pretending to be shocked in this case if they were being, watched. So it makes sense. Afterwards, we explain everything to Sai and Sojiro. and it took Sojiro so long to understand what's going on because he's old. Afterwards, everybody tried to figure out the next target, like the main mastermind behind the whole mental shutdown, which is Shido, who was the person who sued the main character for basically harming him. But yeah, so once we figured out that Shido's our next target, I think we saw him in the street, and that's when the main character realized that Shido was the one who sued him, which I was like, it took you this long to figure that out, but at the same time, you probably lose some of your memories from that because you probably want to forget that whole ordeal, so it makes sense why you didn't remember. It's kind of like your body trying to make you forget like the bad times. But yeah, anyways, we go into Shido's palace. It's a cruise ship, and that's pretty interesting. Some of the funny cutscenes during this, palace was, I think, like Ryuji and Makoto ordering food. That was pretty funny. Like, Makoto seems so sophisticated when she ordered the food, and Ryuji was like, wait, what? Not only that, but I love how the main cast are saying how they don't understand English, but I'm playing in the English dub, so they're speaking English while they're saying they don't understand English, and that was just kind of hilarious. I don't even know how they would change that in the dub, but I think that must be really funny to record that part if you're a voice actor, because that's hilarious. But yeah, before you fight Shido's boss, you actually fight Akechi. So I did not expect Akechi to be here. I honestly expected Akechi to be one of the phases for the final boss. Like, I thought him and Shido would fight together, but apparently not. There you fight Akechi. He basically reveals a whole bunch of stuff about him, saying how he is Shido's son. His mother died because of, him. Not really because of him, but that's what he thinks. Like, he thinks that he's the one who caused her mother's suffering, whatnot. He also says how his whole plan was to wait until Shido gets into power, and then after that he's gonna kill him. It's a lot of crazy stuff. You realize that Akechi was kind of insane. Like, this kind of confirms it. So yeah, there you also realize he had the same power as you, or similar powers as you. He has two personas. One is Robin Hood and one is Loki. He uses Robin Hood at first in the boss fight, then he uses Loki to control and change the heart of shadows and make him go berserk. Kind of like how he made other people go, berserk with mental shutdown, stuff like that. So yeah, that's when you realize, yeah, that's kind of power. So that's really interesting. He also used that power to make him go berserk, and after that you beat him. Then the cognition version of Akechi from Shido's palace or Shido's mind comes, and it basically makes Akechi feel like it's a piece of trash. And Akechi realizes that he was being played all along, even though he was thinking that he was playing Shido. So he decides to basically take on the shadow by himself and basically save the group. So he shoots the emergency thingy from Wajigi, which closes up the hallway, I guess, whatever the heck that thing is. And if you haven't done Bond 10, you gotta have a cutscene where you guys talk about the promise you made and stuff like that, and then he's like, oh, you're still remembering about that promise at this time or something like that, I don't know. And then, you hear the gunshots, and then that's about it. So after we get to Shido's palace and get to the route of the treasure, that's when one of the most hypest cutscenes in this game. So in order to send the calling card to Shido, we decided to hijack a broadcast, and then we were like, hey, Shido was a bad guy and all that stuff. And then after that, we were like, oh, we're gonna steal desires, and our leader is still alive. And then we actually kind of appear in the shadows, and then we walk up into the front of the camera. I was like, I'm still alive. And it was just so cool, like, it was so hype. Oh my god. And then seeing everybody's reactions, like, even our confidants reactions, like, oh my goodness, like, can't believe they did this and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think this cutscene was so hyped. Like, it's great. I can't wait to rewatch the cutscene again when I play New Game Plus. But yeah, anyways, Shido's boss, or Shadow, and his boss is Buff. Like, my god, the amount of muscle this guy's had is insane. Kind of remind me of Muscular from My Hero Academia. I honestly expected Akechi to survive and help us out with Shido's boss fight when we had to fight one-on-one with him, but I guess it doesn't happen. So yeah, we end up beating Shido. It's like, I'm sorry. And then the real life Shido, he takes this pill to kill himself temporarily to try to kill us by destroying the Tai Palace. So yeah, it was unexpected for the main cast, and yeah, we try to run out of the palace, and there's only one boat left, and I love this scene where Ryuji basically runs to the boat and put his life on the line and try to get us out of there. And then the whole explosion thing happens, and everybody thought he was dead. And here I am, like, there's no way he's dying because he's part of the main cast, so I'm pretty sure he's not gonna die. And right after we leave the palace, everybody's crying for Ryuji, and Ryuji just walks out of nowhere and is like, oh my god, that was close. And I thought it was hilarious. And then everybody was like mad at him because they were scared and thought he was dead, and they just beat him up and just left him in the street, which is hilarious. And then we all went to go out and eat or something afterwards. That was about it for Shido's palace. And then Shido's goons for like how they want to carry the torch and continue what Shido was doing. They kind of manipulated the mass or society to not talk about the fantasies and whatnot, and then also try to stop Sai's case on Shido. After that, the group decides to go into mementos and try to change the cognition of the mass to make it so society will want Shido to be tried for his crimes. In doing so, stealing the treasure mementos will basically destroy mementos, and basically they will no longer be able to use the persona and go into metaverse, since memento is the source of all palaces. So they decided to give up on their powers in order to achieve their justice, and in doing so they entrusted the future to the adults like Sai. Before that, I actually was trying to get into mementos and trying to get all the way to the lower level to see Morgana's past, and when I got to the lower level we weren't able to proceed anymore, and I was like, am I doing something wrong? Like, did I mess up? Because I thought mementos would be separate. Like, that was before I got to the whole going to mementos to change the cognition of the mass thing. So I thought I was doing something wrong. And I realized that it has to be like, after Shido's palace, there's gotta be something that happens. But yeah, anyways, it goes inside mementos. I didn't expect mementos to be its own like little palace, but I honestly like the mementos palaces. I think it actually might be one of my favorites too, because I love the whole problem solving thing. Like the light thingy, it kind of reminded me of Pokemon Emerald, the 8th gym I believe, with the ice thingy. Like, I thought that was really cool. Like, I was like, this is easy for me. I played Pokemon Emerald. There was like one puzzle that had me a little bit stumped, but I figured it out. So yeah, we get all the way to the low level mementos. They're talking about how one of the quarantine doors, and I thought there would be some kind of like crazy shadow inside. I thought it was gonna be like one of like the mini bosses or like one of the final bosses basically, but it turned out to be nothing. It just turned out to be the Velvet Room, and the most dangerous criminal inside is us. And I guess not really Morgana, basically the main character, so that's kind of funny. And once we got into the lower level mementos, I was like, I guarantee you that the final boss will be like the Holy Grail or something. Kind of like something that grants people wishes and stuff like that. So I'm like, it's gotta be the Holy Grail. And then once I got there, I was like, I was right. It is the Holy Grail. But yeah, anyways, we had to fight the Holy Grail, and then the masses, they won't let the Holy Grail be destroyed because they relied on it to bring them happiness. So it's very interesting going through mementos and seeing people saying how they don't want to think anymore and they just want to be guided and stuff like that. And I feel like that's not really the way to live. Like, things have to be earned. Like, you can't just be granted stuff and just not think. I don't know, it's kind of interesting to see people's thoughts in life. Like, I understand why, like, life is hard and stressful, but that doesn't mean that you can't think for yourself and give up the right to think. I don't know. But it's always very interesting. But yeah, anyways, the mementos get merged with reality and get this whole cutscene where they basically like bones everywhere and stuff like that, and the main cast kind of just disappears because they're disappearing from the people's cognition. And yeah, and that's how they all end up in the Velvet Room for the first time. And then we can strike a deal with Igor, which is actually Holy Grail in disguise. I didn't strike a deal with him, but I believe you strike a deal with him, the world will get saved. But I don't remember exactly what happens. So yeah, all I know is the world will be sort of saved, but not really. It's kind of like one of the bad endings, sort of. But yeah, anyways, before you even strike a deal with Igor, with the Holy Grail, you actually have to fight with Caroline and Justine, because, well, they're working for Igor or the Holy Grail at the time. They were doing what their master told them. And also the fight was pretty interesting in that we can't really fight and they just beat us up. But I really like how when they're fighting, they start to realize that what they're doing is wrong, and that's not what they actually were supposed to do. And they get their old memories back, and they realize that they're actually together as one, as Lavenza. I think I'm pronouncing that right. After that, the whole deal thing happens, and then I decide to decline his deal, and then he says, "Okay, you're a loser," and then he disappears. And then the real Igor comes, and his voice was like completely different than what I imagined. Like I thought Igor's voice with the Holy Grail would be how his voice is, but his voice is a lot higher than I thought it would be, so that's interesting. But yeah, there we learned about the whole game they were having, where Igor was supporting the humans, whereas the Holy Grail was against it. Sort of like it wasn't really that. I just don't remember too much of the details, but it's something like that. We find out that all the members of the Phantom Thieves are in the Velvet Room, and we go talk to each and every one of them, and basically all of them are like have doubts of what they're doing, and then you talk to them, and then they get all the doubts and decide to go with the ideals and whatnot. So, and then here is where we find out what Morgana truly is. He's basically the embodiment of the last human hopes. Well, that's pretty interesting. It kind of sucks that Morgana wasn't actually a human, because I thought it would be pretty cool. If I was in that situation, I'll probably ask them if there's any way that you guys can transform Morgana into a human, and once he leaves the metaverse. Like, I think it'd be pretty cool. Unfortunately, I'm not in this situation, so Morgana stays as a cat forever until the next arc. But yeah, anyways, Morgana, basically his whole goal was to try to find the trickster and to try to save the world from ruin. After we learn all that stuff, we decide to go outside of the Velvet Room. We go into Shibuya. Nobody realizes what's going on still. And we go all the way up to the top. And once you get to the top, we can fight the Holy Grail. You beat the Holy Grail like by cutting off the veins, whatever that thing is, like the masses supporting them. That way you can't heal anymore. Eventually, just transform to like a giant robot or god thing. And man, the whole time the fight was so awesome. Like, oh my goodness, like I still have goosebumps thinking about the fight. He basically destroys us. Like, even though we do beat him, it's just one of those things where you lose regardless if you win. So he basically destroys us, and then after that, the power of friendship comes, and they're like, we're not giving up and whatnot. And then, you know, Morgana basically encourages everyone, and then we all get up. And then I believe Arson, we kind of break the chains of Arson, and then Satono comes, and then basically one-shot him, one-shot the Holy Grail. So yeah, I believe Satono was the persona of the masses. That's what people were saying. Like, I thought that Satono would be the second awakening for Arson, but apparently I think he's just the persona of the masses. So that's why we didn't get to unlock him. Not only that, but when I saw Satono, I was like, I gotta have this persona. Like, I was like, really hoping that he would have been like a second awakening to Arson, but yeah, it sucks that you don't get him, and you can only get him in New Game Plus, and that's when I was like, really? Oh my god. So that's really my whole main motivation of playing New Game Plus, just to get Satono. There's actually a third awakening for Arson and the DLC, I believe, but don't quote me on that because I don't really know. I haven't really bought the DLC yet, so I gotta double check. But yeah, the whole cutscene of beating the Holy Grail was so awesome. Like, man, I just had goosebumps the entire time. It was great. That was a great way to end it. I'm pretty sure that's how the original Persona ended, but that was awesome. Like, that was great. And after that, once we beat the Holy Grail, Mental starts to basically fall apart. Actually, even before that, in order to get Satono, all of the masses had to get together and support the fantasies 100%. And that was just really awesome. Like, gaining the support from other people in order to summon Satono. It's kind of like a spirit bomb, kind of like in Dragon Ball. Everybody's giving the energy to us. That you see confidants like Mishima, Sojiro, Takemi, Kawakami, Hifumi, you know, everybody, like all those people. I thought it was really interesting. It's really cool. And then after that, Mental falls apart, and then Morgana's like disappearing, and then we're like, oh, so sad that Morgana's gonna be disappearing because he's part of the metaverse, and since the metaverse is gone now, Morgana's gonna disappear Even though I kind of knew he could disappear because when I saw him before we fought the boss, like when we saw him with the whole sparkly thingy, I was like, he could disappear because I played Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and I seen the sparkle before, and I'm like, he's gonna disappear. So yeah, I was right. He disappeared, and everybody went back to reality. And then after that, we all met up for a party to celebrate, beating the whole Holy Grail thingy. And Morgana comes back, and we're all really happy and whatnot. I was like, Morgana's not gonna disappear forever. Cause I'm like, he's one of the main casts in this game. He's not gonna die. That type of thing, plot armor. But yeah, he comes back. We're all happy. We celebrate. Also beforehand, once we beat the boss, Sai comes up to us and was like, we want you to turn yourself in for Shido's case. And then Akechi comes out of nowhere, and then I was like, what the heck, Akechi's alive? He didn't really say anything. He said he was turning himself in instead of us. And then we're like, okay, it's fine, whatever. And then after that, we have a date for Christmas Eve and whatnot, and all the dates are great. Like, I like all of them. They're all really good. I think at the time, I kind of unlocked everybody to Bond 10, so I think we'll see everybody's, and it took forever to see everybody's. Especially since you have to keep rushing cutscenes over and over again in order to get to the part where you can, start the date. But yeah, anyways, after that we party, and that's when the new year comes around. Because this is where the royal part of the game starts, and I have to say, there was a decent amount of stuff to do in the extra stuff, basically. There's about 2 months worth of in-game time. Not like real life, but yeah, in-game. So, yes, there's a decent amount of stuff to do. Honestly, I feel like they could add this in DLC, but at the same time, I understand why they made a new game. Because if they made this a DLC, they wouldn't have made as much money as if they made a new game. Because imagine, like, if you make a DLC, they probably couldn't charge more than maybe like $30 for it. But if they made a new game, they can charge $60 for it and say it's a new game. Or with the whole collector edition, they could have charged, an extra $20, I think, or $30. I don't know. I bought the collector's edition. I think it was around like $80. A little bit more than that, I think. I think it was worth it because this is my first time, getting into the game. So I didn't have Persona 5 before. Plus, I also got this really cool Joker mask that I might use for future videos. So yeah, I thought it was worth it. But for those who already had the game, it probably wasn't really worth it. I don't know, if you guys are big Persona fans, it probably is, but for the casual fans, I don't think it's really worth it. But yeah, anyways, the new semester focuses more on Kasumi, Maruki, as well as Akechi. So basically, you start off with a strange stream, and after you wake up from that, you go to the shrine with Kasumi. But before that, I think you eat breakfast downstairs, and there you see Futaba acting all strangely, like saying how her mother's back and all that stuff. And you're like, what the heck's going on? So after you finish eating, you go to the shrine with Kasumi. There you see the whole gang because I think they're all going to the shrine for the new year. So, and once you get to the shrine, you talk to everybody, you realize something's wrong because everybody's acting a little strangely. Even Kasumi notices that something's wrong, but she didn't really say anything. I forgot to mention that when you meet Futaba in the cafe, you also meet Morgana in his human form. And at first, I was like, who is this guy? Did we know him or something? Like, did I miss something? But, yeah, actually, I figured it out, like, a couple minutes later that it was actually Morgana. Cause I remember before, the whole New Year thing, Morgana saw the actor on TV and he was like, oh, I wished I was like this person. And in Maruki's reality, he became that human, with the same design, just that they changed the eye color, and maybe they changed the hair color, I don't know. But, Morgana was really cool. Like, even though it may not be his like real form, like I don't know, like because he's basically taking an appearance of someone else. So I can't really say it's him, but at the same time it is because that person was like a random NPC. So I guess you could say this is kind of his real form. But that was really cool. Like I said before, I really wish Morgana did have a human form. Unfortunately it doesn't. But yeah, I really like his blue eyes. Like, I don't know why. Maybe I just like blue eyes in general, but it's just, when I saw the eyes, it kind of reminded me of Cloud in a Final Fantasy VII remake. But yeah, anyways, we're not here to talk about eyes. So Akechi hits you up and is like, something's wrong. Like, everybody who died came back and they're like, something's going wrong here. And then after that, you get a call from Kasumi saying that there's some weird, structure in Odaiba, where the stadium used to be. So after that, you guys go meet up in the stadium, and you realize that there's a palace over there. So another palace looks pretty cool. It's like some kind of like long building thingy thingamajiggy. So yeah, once you go in there, you just go exploring, and you realize it's like a medical facility or research facility. So yeah, once I saw all that stuff and like the whole cognitive science stuff, I realized that this was Maruki's palace. At first I thought it might be Kasumi's or Kasumi's dad, because they did show Kasumi's dad in that one cutscene. So I thought maybe it could be her dad, but I'm like, I don't think so, because I don't know, like it's either Kasumi's or Maruki's, and I really got into it. But yeah, you realize that it was Maruki, so you meet up with him, and before that you see the cutscene with Kasumi and her sister, or not even Kasumi. At this point, I should say her real name, Sumire. So it was really tragic what happened. Like basically, Sumire was running, into a street without looking, and then her sister saved her from, a truck or a car. I'm not sure if it was a car or a truck. They say it was a car, but I feel like it was a truck. But I'm pretty sure it probably is a car. I have to like rewatch the cutscene, but that was really sad. And I think this like the first time they really show blood in this game. They didn't really show blood before. Like I'm talking about like red blood. Like because when you see Okumura like die, like you don't see any blood. You see like this black ink. I think. Like I could be wrong. Like I don't really remember, but I don't think you see blood there. So yeah, even with the shadow and stuff like that, I don't even think it was like red blood. I think just like black. So this is the first time you really see blood in this game. So yeah, I really felt bad for Sumire and the guilt that she went through. And I understand why that she decided to become or want to become Kasumi to escape her old life and become a new person, because she thought that everybody wanted to see Kasumi and not her, and that Kasumi was going to be one of the greatest gymnasts in the world. So that's why she wanted to become her, to make her dream come true. And not only that, is that she probably thinks of Kasumi as a role model, so she probably wanted to try to become like her, and overall just kind of escape her whole life, because she didn't want to think about what she's done. I guess at the time she didn't like herself and she wanted to be someone else. So yeah, that's basically why she wanted to become Kasumi. But anyways, after watching that cutscene, you can meet up with Maruki. You realize this is his palace, and realize what he's doing. And he's saying, how he's putting his research to use by making it so everybody will live in his reality. And in his reality, everybody's happy, which is a great concept, but I feel like nobody wants to live in a fake reality, even though, in this reality you're happy. Like, I don't know, like, I think I understand why Maruki did it, and, like, his intentions were good, but I guess his execution wasn't really, the best. Like, I don't know, like, it's kind of like reminds me of, Naruto with Obito and Madara trying to make the infinite Tsukuyomi or something. I think that's how you pronounce it. I probably butchered it, but it's basically the same thing, where they both want people to live in basically like a false reality, except that Obito and the infinite Tsukuyomi plan was to put people in cocoons and make them dream, whereas in Maruki's reality they're actually living life. So yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's the same concept basically. Me personally, I would want to live in this reality, as much as it will make me happy and stuff like that. Like all your dreams will come true and there'll be like no pain and sadness. It's a great like utopia and stuff like that, but it's just not real. Like it's just not how reality is. And the thing is, in order for you to get stronger, you have to go through pain and suffering, stuff like that. That's what make you who you are, and putting in the hard work to make your dreams come true is so much more satisfying than just having it be given to you in Maruki's reality. Like, I don't know, I just feel like, just in general, like, I like the harsh reality rather than the fake happy reality, in my opinion anyway. But I do understand why people want to live in the fake reality. Like, it's definitely a lot more easier, and life would just be generally a lot more happier. But, at the same time, it's just not real. And I'm like, you shouldn't live in a fake reality and run away from your problems. You should face them head on, because like I said before, that's what makes you stronger. and that's how you learn in life basically. So yeah, anyways, Maruki then asks you if you want to live in his reality, and as the player, I think you had a choice whether or not you want to. So Akechi is against it because he doesn't want to live in a fake reality and be controlled by someone else because of what he went through with Shido. And Sumire, on the other hand, likes this new reality, and she doesn't mind living in a fake reality as long as she can escape her survivor's guilt and the pain that she's is going through, trying to live like a new life as Kasumi. So she decides to go with Maruki, or rather, I think she gets captured by Maruki. So yeah, then as a player, you can accept this reality or you can decline it, and Maruki basically gives you some time to think it over. I think about like a week, and to see how happy everybody is in this new reality. So you leave the palace and just go, explore around and talk with your friends, and there when you're talking to them, you can actually break them out of their funk and try to bring them back to the real reality. It did take some time for them to realize that the reality that they're in is fake. So yeah, it basically took about a week. After a week, you can go back to Maruki's palace, and there you can give him your answer, yes or no, whether you accept the reality or not. If you say yes, then it basically ends the game right there, and you live in a happy world. I believe at the ending scene, you see Haru and Makoto graduate. Everybody's there for the graduation. And after that, I believe Maruki also takes a picture of you. He basically erased himself from existence, so nobody knows who he is. Also, as the player, you actually get to stay in the town instead of leaving. Soju will ask you in the ending if you want to stay with him and basically live in the town. That way you don't have to leave. And there, I think you have to say yes. There's no way you can decline. So yeah, so you basically stay there there's no going back to your old town like the true ending. Everybody's happy in that new reality. It just really sucks that everybody forgot about Maruki because he erased himself from existence. Like, I kind of feel bad. Like, everybody's happy except for him, which kind of sucks. But yeah, Maruki seems happy, so I guess at the same time he's not really sad. But at the same time, he's kind of just staying in the palace. I guess. Well, I guess he can probably roam around, and nobody will know who he is. So I guess so. I don't know. But I decided to decline because I wanted the true ending. So once you decline, he says, "Oh, okay, fine. That's how it is. I thought you would see things my way," type of thing. Even though he wasn't being hostile when he said that. Kasumi then begs us to please accept his reality because she doesn't want to go through, her life as Sumire. She wants to live as Kasumi. Then she goes kind of crazy and, starts attacking us, which is really bad, like, to fight her because I'm like, I understand what she's going through and why she's doing what she's doing, and I really wish that she didn't have to go through this pain, but unfortunately, that's just not how life is and how reality is. So it gives you more reason to fight her and basically tell her that what she's doing is wrong and that she can't run away from her problems. So yeah, Kasumi and her persona goes crazy, and unfortunately, you and Akechi are not strong enough to beat it. And then everybody comes, Ryuji, Morgana, and the gang, they'll come and save you. Or they don't really save you, but they come try to back you up. And they realize, this palace is Maruki's and all that stuff. And then it's like no time for talking. Let's beat, Kasumi's persona and save her. So you fight Kasumi's persona, we beat it. I also forgot to mention that when you fight Maruki for the first time, you and Akechi get showtime, which is really cool. I like the showtime a lot. It shows Akechi's true personality, and this is the first showtime you have with the actual player, like the main character, which really sucks. Like, I really wish there was showtimes with other characters. I'm more upset that we didn't have a showtime with Morgana and Ryuji, because I feel like those were the two that would have a showtime with the main character, but unfortunately not. Then again, I really wish they had a showtime with everybody, but oh well, you can't do anything about it. But yeah, the showtime with Akechi was awesome, and we beat Sumire's persona, and we basically save her from Maruki's clutches, and then we escape the palace. Maruki gives us a deadline. I believe it was February 3rd to think it over one more time. So yeah, anyway, we escape the palace and we kind of just live life in the new reality. And we basically do the same thing. We go to the palace, infiltrate, get the treasure, and all that good stuff. Along the way, during the palace, you can learn about Maruki's past. It was explained a little bit about Maruki's past in his confidants, but it wasn't really that detailed, so you don't know too much. But in this palace, you can basically watch tape and can learn more about his past. And I feel really bad for Maruki. Like, he'd been through a lot, but more so, his girlfriend at the time has been through a lot, and everything that happened to her, which basically gave him the motivation to make this new reality and continue his research with cognitive science. So I just feel bad, like, for him and Rumi, because they were still living such a happy life together, and all of that basically disappeared because of one little incident with the burglars killing her parents, stuff like that, giving her PTSD. And in his past memories, you can see him starting to awake his persona powers. Even though it's not fully awakened, he can hear his persona's voice and able to use their powers outside of the palaces and outside the metaverse. You can see him changing Rumi's cognition when he met her in the hospital. You also see what he went through when he's trying to get his cognitive science research funded, and that his funding got cut because of Shido. Shido at the time probably was trying to get into the whole metaverse stuff, so he didn't want anybody else to know about it. So he cut Maruki's funding, took his research, and basically had his goons do the research for him. I think he also made, or at least I think he made Futava's mother, Wakaba, do some of the research too, because they were both working at the government at the time, so I'm assuming that he probably asked her to do the research. Either that or she was researching the cognitive science stuff herself beforehand, and then Shido just gave her more information. I don't know. I'm going to assume that Shido made her do it. But anyways, Maruki's funding got cut. He's sad. He's talking to his friend. This is the first time you see Maruki, really sad. Like, he's basically drinking his problems away. You also see Maruki having a therapy session with Sumire after the incident with her sister. And there she says how she wants to be Kasumi, and Maruki with his persona powers, she basically changed Sumire's cognition so she would live as Kasumi instead of Sumire, and she sort of forgot her past life and everything that she's been through, guilt and whatnot. So this is the first time you actually see him intentionally use his persona to change someone's cognition, whereas with Rumi he kind of did it by accident. So kind of interesting to see how it worked and how he got so used to his persona powers and cognition changing powers, whatever. It was also interesting to see it work so quickly too. Like, Sumire went from her sad self to immediately becoming so peppy and like tying her hair up and just completely forgetting about everything. That's kind of crazy. Maruki did say he had to change a lot in Sumire's cognition in order for her to be Kasumi. So this is like the first time he put so much effort into changing someone's cognition, and he sort of watched over to see what would happen. And I believe the last cutscene has to do with Maruki going back to his old professor, or one of the funders of the research, and saying how he's finished his paper, and basically sticking into his face and saying you're a loser, and saying how he knows everything about the cancellation, the funding, all that stuff. And there you see the whole red sky. It was when the metaverse and reality became one, and that's where he finally got to meet his persona and finally awaken his persona powers. And in that cutscene, only he noticed the red sky. The professor didn't notice the sky at all. Kind of like how everybody in Shibuya didn't realize that the metaverse had been merged with reality. Only the Phantom Thieves knew about it. So yeah, I guess it makes sense because Maruki has a persona, all that stuff. So, and he's also really closely tied with cognitive science, so that's probably why he's able to see the red sky and the whole metaverse merging with the reality. I think that's kind of about it with his past memories. You do learn a little bit more about him when you explore the palace and you find some of his notes from his diary. You basically learn his thought process when trying to write the paper and his motivation for writing paper, which is basically just Rumi. Outside of the palace, Levenson wants to talk to the entire Phantom Thieves about what is happening. So she asks you guys to meet up at school. She goes in with a butterfly form, and she goes into the nurse's office, and there she waits for everybody to come before she starts talking. And one of the funniest scenes is when she tries to greet the player and she says, "What's up?" which is hilarious. I thought it was really adorable. But anyways, you guys meet up in the nurse's office, and there she tells you everything that's happening and what she thinks is gonna happen. And she basically refers to Marky's whole power of changing the cognition and stuff like that, actualization, I think. I could be wrong. I don't remember too much. But yeah, she also predicts that Marky's using the Mentos to change the cognition of the masses. And while exploring the palace, you do have to go to the Mementos just once to, see what's going on. And Mementos basically get extended a little bit, and you go up to a higher floor, and you realize that all the data from Marky's lab basically is going into Mementos and changing people's cognition. I think that's how it goes. I think it goes from the lab to Mementos. I don't think the other way around, but I could be wrong. So yeah, basically how you're changing the cognition of the masses and basically changing reality in general. Once you finish exploring the palace, if you have anybody's Bond 10 in the Phantom Thieves, you can actually talk to them and they can have the third awakening with their personas. Basically it shows that the personas fusing, like from the first to second awakening, which I thought was really cool. I really like Ann's third awakening because her second awakening wasn't really that great. Her second awakening persona, Hectate, I think it's what it's called, wasn't really that great. So I really like the third persona. I like Makoto's third awakening, but I also like her second awakening too, because it's kind of like a transformer type of thing. Her third awakening is a car, so I mean it wasn't too bad. I like it too. I like all the third awakenings, but Ann's the one I like the most because I really didn't like her second awakening. Futaba's was a spaceship, I believe, and Haru, it's basically like her bottom half of her first persona and the top half of her second persona, and basically put them together. Morgana's, I honestly don't remember too much about Morgana's. And I think that's about it for all the third awakenings I could have, because I didn't get Yusuke or Ryuji to Bond 10. I was so close to Ryuji, I was actually at Bond 9. I wasn't able to get him to Bond 10. Akechi and Sumire also had their third awakenings too. Sumire had her third awakening near the end. She had a second awakening when you get a Bond 10 in the, before you fight Maruki. She basically had her second awakening for like a few fights before I, got the third awakening. Yeah, I like all the designs of the third awakening. All of them were great. It's really cool seeing them fuse the two personas together. I really wish that the main character had a third awakening. Apparently there was, and I think it's in the DLC. I think the whole awakening, I think it was for the main character. It could be like Arson, and maybe it was Satono, and the third awakening was the DLC persona. So I don't know. I don't really know too much, but it really sucks that the player didn't get a single awakening. I was waiting for a second awakening, but unfortunately we didn't get one. We also get a showtime with Sumire, which I really liked a lot. I was honestly expecting a showtime with Sumire because she was the most promoted girl in Persona 5 Royal, so yeah, it kind of makes sense why, they would have a showtime with the main character. But like I said before, it really sucks that we didn't get any showtimes with anybody else. It doesn't make sense why we only got showtimes with Akechi and Sumire, because they were like the two most important characters in this arc. Plus it's also DLC as well, and it probably had some feedback saying, why didn't the main character get any showtimes? They're like, okay, let's give a showtime with Akechi and Sumire, so yeah, they probably did that to shut us up. But the whole gist of the third awakening is basically everybody coming to terms with the real reality and saying that they're sorry that they got caught up in a new reality. That's basically about the gist of everything. And that, they're gonna, get stronger and learn from their mistakes and not run away from the problems and stuff like that. So that's basically about the gist of it. So after that, it's time to give the calling card to Maruki, and on February 2nd, he comes over at night, and you give him the calling card. There, you can actually say whether or not you accept this new reality or You guys are gonna fight for your ideals. If you accept this reality, then it basically brings you the same cutscene as when you said yes in January. After that, the next day you fight Maruki, and Maruki's palace was definitely one of my favorites. I really love the music. The music was great. Like something that you would think would play in Kingdom Hearts, like the whole music and stuff like that. Like it's so mysterious, and it just feels like it would be like in the Kingdom Hearts boss fight or something. So yeah, that's why I really liked it a lot. But Maruki's boss fight wasn't really that difficult. What made it so difficult was that there was like multiple enemies, and each enemy has like different weaknesses. Also another thing that sort of made it difficult is the restrictions he has sometimes. The most annoying one was the not being able to cure or heal. That was annoying. But other than that, his boss fight is pretty easy, and the music in the boss fight was really good too. Like it was great. If you listen to the lyrics of the boss fight, I think like after you fight his first form or first phase, the music is basically about him, like in his perspective. So yeah, once you beat his first form with his tentacle persona, I don't remember what the name of it was. Once you beat him, he basically said he's not giving up and gets his second awakening to his persona, which is like Adam Cadman or Codman or something, I don't remember. But yeah, it was really cool, like huge. There we had to fight him again, and I don't think you can really do any damage in this phase. Basically, he's just hitting you over and over again, and you just basically gotta heal so you don't die. Then Futaba was like, "Oh, I found a weakness to this persona, and it's when he's doing the charge attack, and he basically drops all his defenses on his head when he's doing the charge attack. So basically, he said attack his head when he's doing the charge attack." And in this part, it brought us one of the coolest scenes in this game, next to the whole summoning of Satano. But yeah, it's really cool, like seeing him do the punch, and everybody, like the whole gang, was basically trying to endure the attack for you. That way you can have an opportunity to attack his head and basically finish him off. So that was really cool, and the music that played was so good. Like I Believe was such a good track. But yeah, there you basically use the grappling hook to fly up to the top of his head, and then you shoot him down with one bullet, which is the same as when you beat the Holy Grail. But there, once you shoot him, you basically beat him. And when I got to this phase, I was like, there's gotta be more to this. Like, I don't know, it just feels like there's not enough. Because after playing Kingdom Hearts, you always expect multiple boss phases. Like Kingdom Hearts has like so many boss phases, it's insane. So I always expect that with other games, because how used to it I am with Kingdom Hearts. But there are only like 2 phases, like actual boss phases. Once you beat him, everybody tries to escape the palace and stuff like that, and there Morgana transformed into a helicopter, probably due to the powers of the star, I think. They gave him power to transform the helicopter just once, and everybody's in the helicopter. And after that, Maruki, with his tentacle persona, grabs the helicopter, and the main character basically drops down from the helicopter because he was hanging on a rope, and he drops down to face Maruki one last time. And basically, it's not really a boss fight, it's just like a fist fight. It's kind of like Naruto in the Final Valley, when Naruto and Sasuke were just punching each other over and over again. It's kind of like that. So basically, the main character and Maruki were punching each other, trying to beat out the frustrations. And yeah, Maruki basically falls down, and the platform falls, and you grab him from falling and saying, "We're not leaving you." And then Morgana's like helicopter lights shines on the main character, and then it basically transitions to the next scene when they're outside of the palace. So once everybody's out of the palace, the gang realizes that the main character as well as Akechi are gone. So they try to find the main character, but unfortunately they weren't able to find them, and they decide to go back to LeBlanc. Before that, Sumire picks up a piece of paper on the ground, which we'll talk about later on. But yeah, anyways, so they go back to LeBlanc, and there they see Sojiro sitting there reading newspaper like an old person, and they ask him, what's going on, where the main character is, and then he's like, oh, the main character went to Juvie. And then the whole crew was confused, And basically what happened is that everything that was supposed to happen happened. Everything Maruki changed in his reality is now gone. So Akechi is no longer there to turn himself in, so that's why the main character decided to turn himself in. And then, now he's in juvie, which is was supposed to happen. I think that's what happened in the original game. I could be wrong, but so the gang decided to figure out a plan to free Joker from juvie, and with the help of Sai and all of the other confidants like Kawakami, Takemi, Mishima, those people not in the Phantom Thieves. Essentially, they try to get support from random people. Like Mishima was getting people's names to sign a petition. Takemi was asking her clients to vouch for Joker and stuff like that. Kawakami was asking the school staff to help. Chihaya, I think that's how you pronounce the name, is asking her group of friends or group of clients as well. Where the Phantom Thieves were trying to track down the woman who was the victim in the trial and try to get her to testify and basically try to say that Joker's innocent and he deserved to be free and all that stuff. And eventually everything worked out, and Sai meets up with Joker in juvie, and she basically says that he's free to go and thank you for your help and all that stuff. And basically after that we leave juvie and we go back to LeBlanc. There we meet up with everybody, and we just have a party. After the party, you have to pick out who you wanted to spend your time with on Valentine's Day, and I had a whole list of people I had to go through again, kind of like Christmas, to like 10 people, and it took forever, especially since I had to keep watching the cutscenes over and over again until I get to the part where I can actually pick them out, because unfortunately the game doesn't let you save beforehand, so yeah, it was a pain. But I went through all of them were great. I decided to go with Sumire because she's the new girl, so I decided to pick her. But yeah, all of them were great. And for Valentine's Day, I went for the harem route. So yeah, after the Valentine's Day, next day, Sojo comes in asking, "What did you do?" And basically, all the girls come inside and they're like, "Hey, why did you spend time with me on Valentine's Day with the chocolate in hand?" And after that, they're all mad at you and saying, "Oh, you're cheating on them," stuff like that. And it just felt so bad in that cutscene. Like, I didn't really want to go the harem route, but I really want to see all the cutscenes, so I had to. Like, I didn't want to see it on YouTube. I really want to see it in the game itself. So I don't know. It just felt bad, but I was like, I have to do this. But yeah, I had to see everybody's reaction. Even though I picked Sumire, I had to see a reaction, like, because I had to see everybody's Valentine's Day scene. So eventually, I had to see her reaction to the whole cheating thing, and her was really bad as well. Like, it just made me feel like poop. Another Valentine's Day scene I really liked was when you decide to spend Valentine's Day alone, and you and Ryuji are in the cafe just talking about how you guys couldn't find anyone, even though the main character has like 10 girls he can spend time with. But yeah, this spending time with Ryuji, that was hilarious. And then Yusuke comes out of nowhere, and then he's like, "Oh, I already have gotten chocolates, but I just want the coffee." That was pretty funny as well. And then Sojo, giving his advice and taking them out to dinner and stuff like that. That was really funny. But I really like that scene a lot. But I really like how they decided to make this funny cutscene at the end of Valentine's Day where all the girls decide to beat you up. And that was really funny for them to add that. And I also really like how there is no consequences for dating multiple girls, because there are a lot of people like me who want to see all the cutscenes. So yeah, it would really suck if there was a consequence for dating all the girls. But I understand why, because it's a lot more realistic if it was like that. So yeah, and also it was really funny is after you get beat up, Ryuji sent you a text saying, "Does chocolate for my mom count?" And that was hilarious. Oh man, like, it was great. And then Sojo giving his chocolate as well, so you basically get 2 chocolates if you pick the harem route, which is pretty cool. Even though the chocolates, I'm probably never gonna use. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna use those chocolates. It does give you SP, so it's really good, but it's still like one of those sentimental things, and basically one of those things that you can't really get in the game other than that one single cutscene. So I highly doubt anyone's gonna use it. But yeah, also Sai gives you her chocolate before you get beat up on that day, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if that was in the original game, but yeah, it's pretty cool to see her give chocolate, even though it was like a complimentary chocolate. It really sucks that you couldn't really romance Sai, but it kind of makes sense that you couldn't, because I guess story-wise it don't really make sense, because you aren't really spending that much time with Sai anyway. And even after the interrogation point, just basically focused on stopping Shido and the whole Mementos thing, and then stopping Maruki. Like, there isn't any time for hanging out with Sai. Also, Sai is a very, busy person, so I don't think she will have time to hang out with you anyway, so it does make sense why you weren't able to, but at the same time, it does really suck. Like, I really like Sai a lot, and it's really cool to see her cutscenes if she was the romanceable option, but unfortunately not. Who knows, they might make it, a DLC, or they make another Persona 5 game and then add her as the romanceable option, but I don't know. I don't think they're making another game other than Royal and Scramble after this. I don't think they're really gonna milk Persona 5 any longer, or at least hopefully not. I mean, it just seems so desperate if they did do that, but at the same time, I'm a huge Persona 5 fan now, so I'm like, I wouldn't really mind. I'll probably eat up anything they throw out, so yeah. And then after the Valentine's, I think it skips to a couple of days before White Day, and there everybody gathers in LeBlanc, and they all talk about the future plans, being inspired by Joker leaving town to do his own thing. Ryuji decides to move closer to a medical facility where he can rehab his knee, that way he can go back to running. An decides to go study abroad, Makoto and Haru decides to move out on their own, Futaba decides to go to high school. I don't think she's going to Shujin, I think she's going to a different high school. Sumire is continuing her training in gymnastics. Yusuke decides to stay and continue pursuing his art career. Once he finishes his current portrait, he's probably gonna move out, or that's what he says. I think that's better for everybody. I think this ending is different than in the original version. I don't think they had everybody saying they're gonna separate and do their own thing. I think they were all staying together. I'm not exactly sure, I haven't played the original version like I said before, so I don't know. But I think this is new in Royal, and personally I really like this. I like how they're all inspired and motivated to follow their own dreams, and wanting to move forward in the future and the reality that they chose, even though it means that they all have to separate and they will no longer be able to see each other as much anymore. This ending is a lot more bittersweet, and I personally like it a lot more because this is more, I guess, real in terms of how life is. Like, eventually everybody has to move on, like, you can't really stay with each other forever, and I really like how the way they're moving on is that they're following their dreams. This is very reminiscent of how high school graduations are, as well as college graduations. Everybody's separating, going to different schools, or pursuing different careers, and they're no longer going to the same school, stuff like that. So it kind of reminds me of that. Like I had some prior experience, dealing with that in high school as well as college. Moving on from friends and stuff like that. Even though we still talk, but we don't see each other as often. Like, as much as I really want everybody in the Phantom Thieves to stay together, it's just a lot more realistic that they're all moving their separate ways and following their own dreams. And I personally like that a little better than them all staying together. And besides, they can all see each other anytime they want. Like, nowadays, you got like FaceTime, just like that, so they can see each other, by doing that. They can also, call each other. They also see each other as well, because they're all living in, the same country. Like, they can still visit each other and stuff like that. The only person that you can't really visit is An, because she is studying abroad. But she will come back, a few years, so yeah. And they also got, like I said before, they got FaceTime, so they can talk to her anytime. So yeah, it's not really the saying goodbye, just that they're not gonna really be spending much time together in like person, but they can, still talk to each other like every single weekend or something, something like that. So it's not really saying goodbye forever, but more like a temporary goodbye. So yeah. Morgana also decides to stay with the protagonist and decides to go home with them, which I think is really cool. Like, Morgana is one of those really great friends and sidekicks that you wish you had, and I'm really glad that he's staying with Joker, because I guess where else would he really go? Like, he's been staying with Joker for so long. I thought maybe he might stay in the cafe, but I think it's a lot better that he's going home with Joker, and it'd be so cool, like, to have a pet cat. But yeah, after that, it skips to White Day, and there, Sojiro asks you, what you're gonna do for White Day, and then you're like, White Day? Like, I totally forgot about that. Like, even me in real life, I totally forgot about that. Like, in the US, you don't celebrate White Day, it's really a Japanese thing, so yeah, I did not even notice. Like, I totally forgot about White Day in general, and the main character even forgets about White Day. And Sojiro said it's the perfect time for you to make up for your mistakes, because like I said before, I went the harem route, so Sojiro comes up with a good White Day plan, and I thought it was pretty cool too. Like, he says how you should bring her to the aquarium, and afterwards go out to eat in a fancy restaurant, and surprise her with flowers and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty cool. Like, it would probably work in real life. I mean, Sojiro is, a player, so it would make sense, that he knows a lot about this stuff. And the player decides to follow Sojiro's plan, and you buy flowers, and you text the girl you want to meet up, and thank God you were able to save beforehand, because my goodness, I had to go through 10 of these scenes, so I couldn't imagine having to sit through who knows how many cutscenes before getting to White Day. So yeah, I'm really glad you could save. I think you couldn't even save beforehand. You probably have to go back all the way till even before Valentine's Day before you can even save. So like, can you imagine watching all those cutscenes? Oh my god. So thank goodness you were able to save beforehand. But I think this White Day scene is exclusive to Persona 5 Royal. I don't think it was an original game. I could be wrong again, but I think it's new. But yeah, anyways, for White Day, I decided to go with Sumire again because, like I said before, Sumire was my Valentine's Day choice, so it'll make sense that, you spend White Day with her. Plus, she's also a new girl, like I said before, so I wanted to see her cutscenes. But if you decide to pick any other girl, other than the girl you picked on Valentine's Day, it's a really funny scene where, like, when the girl goes to the bathroom, you get a call from Sumire asking, where you're at, and I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, nothing really happens the next day. Like, Sumire doesn't come and beat you up or something. So it still makes you feel bad for ignoring Sumire on White Day when you pick her, but or whatever girl you pick. But yeah, the game does a really good job of making you feel like trash. But yeah, after the whole White Day thing, like all the scenes were great. What I noticed is that all of the date scenes, like the Christmas scenes, the Valentine's Day scene, the White Day scenes, even the beach scene and the school festival, it's all relatively the same. It's just that the dialogue changes a little bit due to the person you pick's personality. But yeah, overall it's really just the same. Which I thought was a little bit lazy, but it makes sense because there's 10 girls and it takes some time to create 10 different scenarios, so I guess it makes sense why they kind of made it the same to save some time. So yeah, after White Day, you basically skip to the day you're leaving. There you can say goodbye to everybody, and it really hurt when you have to say goodbye to everybody. Like, oh man, it's just like reliving high school graduation and college graduation again. Oh man, it really hurt. Like, I felt so bad. Like, I wish they didn't have to leave, but at the same time I really like that they're leaving. Like I said before, they're pursuing their own dreams. But yeah, after you say goodbye to everybody, I think you go home to pack up. And this was the day before, not the day of, my bad. But yeah, once you pack up and everything like that, you go to sleep. Next day you leave, and then there's a whole bunch of animations where I thought they were really good. You walk into the station, and there you see all your friends in a little bus, and I'm not sure if this is like Makoto's car or it was like a rented car. I have no idea. And here's where there's two different endings. There's the true ending from the original game, and then there's like the true ending in the royal version. I got the royal version, so I'm gonna talk about the royal version, and I'll talk about also how to make the ending better, because a lot of people are saying they prefer the original version instead of the royal version, which I see why, but at the same time, I guess I don't really care. Like, I like both endings, so yeah. So anyways, in the royal version, you talk to your friends, and then they're being followed by Shido's goons, and then they're like, oh, what should we do? And then Maruki comes and it's like, hey, get in my car. I got you. Like, create a diversion. And so the Phantom Thieves, they distract the goons, whereas Maruki, he drives you to the station. There Maruki's like, you don't have to pay me, just know that if you're ever in trouble, know that you can restart your life like I did, and if that advice helps you, then that was all worth it. And then after that, I didn't give him like a fist bump or something. Like, it doesn't really show you giving a fist bump, but I think that's what happened. But yeah, it was really weird seeing, Maruki in a taxi. Like, I don't think he became a taxi driver. I think it's just, he probably rented a taxi to, drop you off at the train station. And he probably saw that you weren't there at LeBlanc, so he probably went after you or something. Cause I feel like, I don't think that Maruki would become a taxi driver. I don't know. I could be wrong. But yeah, I just feel like he would probably try to pick you up. That way he can talk to you one last time before you leave. And the taxi was just an excuse. But yeah, anyways, After Marky drops you off the station, the Phantom Thieves come and say goodbye, and then they leave again while the goons are still chasing them. And after that, there you see Sumire, and you guys have like a one-word exchange. Like she says, "I thought you taught me to keep your head up" or something. And then you guys walk away, and you go to train. Then the credits happen, and it shows everybody moving on with their life. And I thought it was really cool to see that. And after the whole credit thing is over, oh, by the way, the credit song was really good. Like, it's great. Definitely one of my favorite songs in the soundtrack. Like, all the music in this game was great. But after that, there was the ending scene if you got a Ketchy to Bond 10. And there you see, Ketchy walking by. Like, it's not really, you don't really see Ketchy, it's like you see, like, his body walking by. Like, it's the sunlight blocking his face, so you can't really tell if it's him or not, but it's basically him. People are speculating whether or not he is, alive again. Like, maybe Maruki decides to use the last bit of power to bring back a Ketchy. Like, who knows? Or it could be just like, imagination. But yeah, after the Ketchy scene, the train goes, but yeah, Joker sees his metaverse outfit on the window, and after that, he smiles, and then he closes the blind, and it says finished. But yeah, after that, you can save over your save file, and it basically be like a clear file, and the file is completely unusable. You have to make a new save file with that file, which kind of sucks for those especially that only have one save file. You can't go back and do other things. So I guess I didn't really like that, but it didn't really affect me because, like I said before, I had multiple save files. But yeah, I still don't like that mechanic, but oh well, whatever. But yeah, for the ending, like I said before, it's different in Royal than it is in the original version of the game. There are a lot of people who like the original version, whereas there are a lot of people who like the new Royal version. There isn't really any canon. I think all endings are canon. Like, there's no real canon. Like, people can talk about all they want, but I feel like everything's canon in this game. But I feel like I figured out a way to make it so everybody would be happy with the ending. And I think the best way to do that is to combine both endings together. So how I think the ideal ending would be to satisfy both sides is to first start off with Joker walking down the street. He sees his friends and they talk whatever, and Morgana's fixing the car. And after that, they see Shido's goons. So what happened is that Marky will come, Joker will get inside Marky's car. They were able to talk and stuff like that. And then the goons see that Joker went inside Marky's car. So what they would do is Marky and the Phantom Thieves split up, and the goons will follow Marky's car, and then after that they will meet up somewhere, and then Joker will switch cars and go into the Phantom Thieves car, whereas Marky will distract the goons while the Phantom Thieves drop him off at the station. And there Makoto will be like, "Oh, we're not dropping you off yet, we're gonna have some fun first." And then after that, they'll drop him off at the station. And then the Phantom Thieves will say their goodbyes to Joker and then leave the station. And then there, he will meet up with Sumire. And there they will have a longer conversation instead of, one line. And I feel like they only had that one line was because, people were saying how Joker was being followed by Shido's goons, so they didn't want to keep the conversation too long. So maybe that's why the conversation was so short. But yeah, in my ending, they will talk a little bit longer. Like, have a heartfelt goodbye, and then move on with their lives. And then after that, everything's really the same with a catchy and stuff like that. So that's kind of my ideal ending to satisfy both sides of the people liking the original ending, whereas those liking the Royal ending. So, but yeah, overall the game was great. Like, it definitely became one of my most favorite games I ever played. It's still either top 2 or top 3. I'm not sure if it ranks number 2 or number 3 in my most favorite games I played of all time. Yeast 8 or YS8 is my favorite game of all time. I don't think any game's really gonna beat that. But yeah, definitely it's either number 2 or number 3. Like, it's between that or Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, Persona 5 is definitely the better game. It's just that Kingdom Hearts 3 is a game I waited for so long. And plus, I personally like Kingdom Hearts 3's combat more than I do Persona 5. But I like Persona 5's story more than I like Kingdom Hearts 3. So I don't know, it could be number 2. But yeah, like I said before, this game is a really good game. I rate it at 10 out of 10. I feel like any JRPG fan would love this game, especially if you're into turn-based combat or you don't mind turn-based combat. this game is great. Like, man, I really wish I could erase my memories from playing this game and replay it again. I'm thinking about playing New Game Plus, but I have to see about that. Right now, there's some other games I do have to beat. Like, I still have to beat Final Fantasy VII Original, and then after that, I have to beat Final Fantasy VII Remake, and maybe after that, I'll play New Game Plus, or I may move on to something else. Persona 4 Golden just came out on Steam. I'm not sure if I want to play that right now. I have to think about that. But yeah, Persona 4 is a really long game, and yeah, I don't know if I have time for that. Like, I know if I play New Game Plus or Persona 5, it will be long as well, but there's still some things I want to do in Persona 5, like getting Satano, or I'm not even sure if it's pronounced Satano or Satano, I don't know, whatever. But I do want to get him. So some other stuff I have to do, like beating the Reaper and beating Lavenza and stuff like that. And also I can try getting the Platinum Trophy, because it's actually not that hard. I had actually never gotten a Platinum Trophy before. I've been trying to get it on Kingdom Hearts 3 and Ys 8, but I'm just so lazy. But yeah, maybe Persona 5 will be my first Platinum Trophy, who knows. But yeah, I'm definitely really excited to play this game again. And even like in the future too, like I'm excited about that. I'm also really excited about Persona 5 Scramble, which continues the story of Persona 5 in like a new, like Kingdom Hearts-ish style, like hack and slash style. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think this game is like kind of like Fire Emblem Warriors, like that whole mob of monsters and you can attack them and stuff like that. I think something like that, which is pretty interesting. I'm not sure what it's called, like the genre, but it seems like a lot of fun, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, I could always play Persona 5 dancing game thing, which I don't think I will. Only if I'm like super bored and nothing else to do. But yeah, overall, like I said before, great game. Highly suggest you guys play it. If you guys made it this far in this video, I highly doubt any of you guys are watching this far into the video. If you guys are, then kudos to you. You guys are amazing to hear me ramble on this long. Right now I'm recording for 2 hours and 30 minutes. Like, it's actually even longer than that, and I'm like, oh my god. The amount of editing in this video is gonna be insane. I might have to cut some stuff out in this video, I have no idea. Like, I don't even want to edit this video, like, oh my god. But hopefully I'll get it out sometime this week. I'm recording this on June 14th, or I recorded for like a few days now. I'm just ending it on June 14th, so hopefully it comes out sometime this week. But yeah, anyways, I also forgot to talk about my best girl. A lot of people saying how they really like Makoto in the subreddit. In general, I feel like people like Makoto and Futaba the most. I feel like a lot of people don't really like An as much. Like, I don't know, I feel like there's like half and half. Like, some people really like An and some people don't like An. There might be some people in the middle, but for the most part, either you like her or dislike her. Oya is definitely the character everybody hates the most. Like, I mean, I understand why. So I just thought it was really funny that everybody just doesn't like her. But yeah, Haru, other people like too. Like, and also the teacher Kawakami, people like as well. Hifumi, people like as well. Like in the doctors Kemi and Chihaya, people like as well. Sai, another character that people like a lot, but unfortunately she's not romanceable, so she's kind of out of the question. But in terms of my best girl or waifu in this game, I can't really pick. Like, I like every single character in this game. There is no character I dislike. And yes, I do like Ohaya. Like, she's not my favorite, but I do like her. But yeah, in terms of all the girls, she definitely is my least favorite, but I still like her. Like, I don't hate her character. Like, if I had to pick a top 3, with no particular order, it's Sumire, An, and Makoto. One of those 3, like, is my favorite. Like, I can't pick. All 3 of them are great. I also really like Haru as well, but not as much as like the other 3. Haru is probably like number 4. But yeah, definitely Kawakami's great too. Hifumi's great too. Futaba's great too. So is Chihaya and Takemi. Onya is great in her own way. But yeah, I can't really pick. Like I said before, Sumire, An, and Makoto. Those 3 are my most favorite girls in Persona 5. So I guess I'll go the harem route and pick all 3 of them. But anyways, that's kind of about it for this video. I just wanted to geek out about Persona 5, give my opinion on stuff, and this video was a lot longer than I expected. It was great for the first half of the video. I was getting through things really quickly. I got all the way to Okumura's palace, like really fast, and then after that, things started going downhill, and I started summarizing things and making this video a lot longer, but there's so much things I really want to talk about that I had to summarize, and stuff like that, so I don't know, this video is gonna be super long. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more of these geeking out about videos, then be sure to like the subscribe button. I plan on doing more of these in the future. I don't know how often I'm going to do them because of how long I tend to ramble on for, but I don't think anything really could be as long as Persona 5, so I don't think they'll be this long. Like, usually they probably range about like half an hour to an hour. But yeah, Persona 5 is just a long game, that's why it's like almost 2 hours, or it is 2 hours. I'm not sure how much I'm going to cut out. Yeah, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys stick this far into the video, like, I want to give you all like a hug, fist bump, high five, anything. Like, man, you guys are like the MVPs for sticking out all the way to the end. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you guys thought of Persona 5. Let me know who your best girl is and all that stuff. But yeah, anyways, super excited for Persona 6. Hopefully it doesn't come out until I retire, because of how long these games are. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.